A lot of us like to visit a very uncomfortable world, like living with the SEAL. He visited for 30 days, an uncomfortable world. That's my lifestyle. People ask me, so why do you still do this every day? I'm 43 years old. I did 21 years in the military. Now I'm a firefighter.
Right.
I'm a wildland firefighter. I don't need it. I'm good. Why do you still do this?
Right.
You right now are a leader. You sit in this chair right now to thousands, hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
That's why you do it. Why you get up at 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning is because you are setting the example for others to follow. So people always go, what drives you now? What should drive you now is no more you. Like you said, I'm comfortable. I'm good. It's not about you anymore.
That's right.
You have to change your mindset to God gave you everything you want. It's pay time. You got to now start paying bills for the people in your mindset. So you're suffering now. Like when people say, why do you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning? So then you can come in and set the example for everybody else. I don't care what age you are or where you're at in life. The second you stop doing that, you stop growing. And therefore, you stop being back to that leader. You're growing in a comfortable world. You're allowing yourself to grow in a world that you are fine growing in. There's no real growth there. The real growth is right now, you don't want to, you know where you should go. That's why you're not there. It's that place where you wake up and you're, man, I don't want to do this today.
I'm not challenging myself physically like that.
But see, what people don't get though, the physical is what starts everything. You have to challenge yourself physically every single day of your life. And that's where the growth comes from. The growth comes from there, 100%.
Yeah, like the physical pain does something for us.
It does something for everyone. For everyone. Takes the growth in your mental aspect, in your spiritual, everything grows because you start feeling better about yourself. And not many things on the planet make you feel good about yourself like getting after it. So when you come from where I came from, there's a lot of power. So the power comes from when you think that, my God, everybody's above you. And then you put, for instance, I talk about the Navy SEALs in my book. I put every Navy SEAL on a pedestal.
It's easy to do.
It's easy to do. You read the books about them, you see movies about them, superhuman. But what happens is, once you drop your own limitations, so one thing we do bad in life is we put all these people above you. Never put anybody above you, man. Make it an even playing field. But you can't make it an even playing field if you're not working your ass off. I'm not saying not to respect people. You gotta respect people. But if you're playing tennis, right now there's tennis going on here in Queens. If you're playing tennis and you're playing Roger Federer, even Roger Federer is not here right now, but let's say you're playing Roger, best ever, arguably best ever. But I'm good at tennis, but Roger's the best ever. And we're playing a 5-set match, Grand Slam. Before Roger serves the ball, the first serve of the game, first serve, set 1, game 1, first serve. In your mind, you're thinking, man, that's the best person in the world to serve. This is how I thought about Navy SEALs. So what happens is, 2 sets fly by. Roger smokes you 6-0, 6-0, or 6-0, 6-1. You're like, wow, man, I can play with this man. I didn't care about losing weight. I didn't care about being the fastest person. I wasn't making the Olympics. I wasn't going to pros. I could barely read and write when I was in a junior in high school. I wasn't going anywhere. I saw working out as a way for me to build calluses on my mind. I had to callous over the victim's mentality. So I watched these movies. I talked about Rocky last time I was on here. I always equated training to mental toughening. Like, it always looked brutal. People waking up early and doing all these things, and it looked horrible. I was like, wow, man, I gotta start doing that. Not to get better, bigger, and stronger, but that is what's gonna build me. That looks uncomfortable. That looks brutal. And getting up early, I don't wanna do that. So I made this long list of things I don't wanna do. And through that, I found myself. I started, I'm like, you guys aren't doing that in high school. You guys aren't getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, running over here in this golf course. So I started seeing myself very differently than the average human being. I was like, hang on a second. I have something they don't have. And that's when I started to develop these things through working out. It was this great, never-ending work ethic. And through work ethic, I developed self-esteem. I watched a lot of movies, and I was really big into visualization. And I always equated working out to struggle. And I struggled my whole life, but I ran from it. So I started realizing, man, I got to start facing the struggle, and I got to be mentally strong for the struggle. So that's where I started coming up with, like, I'm training for life. Mentally, I'm training for life. I'm not training for, like, to lift 400 pounds. And I found out on my own pretty much, is that through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do, and that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. You start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. That's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. And that's how I started coming up. I just started being very uncomfortable, and now it's like just a way of life. Sometimes we can be in such a bad spot in our lives that the only answer is to say and go for broke. In my life, 20-something years ago, I was in that spot. And this guy asked me a question yesterday. What was the question, Jennifer?
He asked if you're paying the price physically now for what you put your body through.
Am I paying the price? So my answer was yes, I am. But what he didn't know was literally, I stepped back at 297 pounds, looked in the accountability mirror, and I saw a reflection I didn't like. It wasn't so much the outside, it was a lot of the inside. So that bothered me. And I was willing to do whatever it took to change that reflection. You gotta find out what you're willing to do to change the reflection in that accountability mirror.
It might be April where you are, and you're expecting nice weather, but it's 20 degrees. So, you might be somewhere where it's too hot. So, you might have sore legs, sore back, sore shoulder. So, the struggle is real. It never gets any easier. You gotta get harder. I was out yesterday, getting after it. Had one of the best runs I've had in a long time. PR that. So, no one cares what you did yesterday. It only matters what you're doing today. Those who take me literally, so I'm a cheerleader for those who want to be better, not for those who want to stay the same. Stay hard.
A lot of us dream big. You should dream big. Dreaming big is important. Some of us want to be doctors, lawyers, dentists. Some of us want to be in special operations. So you have this big dream, you can see it so clearly, like it's right in front of you. You can go out and touch it. But the thing about it is, somewhere, if you dream big enough, somewhere down that journey, that dream becomes a nightmare. And what happens in that nightmare, you start to have all these questions, like, if you want to be in special ops, you may not be a great swimmer. You may just realize that I'm not a great swimmer, I'm not a great runner. You may start to fail tests, and all these questions start to flood your mind. Why am I here? I'm not good enough. Trust me, I know all about the questions. They will flood your mind. If you do not have the answers for them, you will quit. The answers lie in the repetitions. You must not forget the repetitions you put into trying to dominate the craft that you're in today. Always, always embrace the suck, adapt to the suck. Stay home. It was amazing because in the first hell week, I was still doubting myself, because these guys come from the academy, the Naval Academy. These guys come from, a lot of them, not all of them, but they come from really good families. They're almost like their dads were SEALs, their grandfathers were SEALs.
Right.
They come from a lot better. I mean, I had to earn my way just to get in the Navy, let alone be a SEAL. And I quit Air Force training, and now I'm going for the best. So my self-esteem, even though I was building it up and I lost weight and stuff like that, I'm now around the most uncommon of uncommon people. And I'm like, my God, I'm here. Do I belong here? So your mind has a good way of taking the path of least resistance. Whenever friction happens, friction causes growth. Whenever friction happens, that's why a lot of us don't have any growth, because when friction happens, we go the opposite direction. So in my mind, when friction happened, my mind said, oh, hey, man, let's get out of here,
You're
man.
a fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not real.
Right.
You've lied your whole life. You come from this, you can barely read. Those things, so whenever times got hard, my mind said, you're not good enough. Let's go. So my eyes, my mind weren't connecting. So how you combat that is this. I call it the cookie jar. You have to remind yourself. We all have a story. all of us have gone through very hard time. But when we're in a hard time, our mind has a way of forgetting what all we've overcome. I have a way of taking 1 second when I want to quit and saying, okay, you endured this. So I look at my life and how I came up as the ultimate training ground versus most people look at it as why? Woe is me. God, why?
Right, exactly.
Why? I had to flip this upside down and say, hang on a second. God was training me to be one of the baddest men on the planet Earth.
Absolutely right.
This was my journey. So instead of looking at it like, oh my God, man, why did I start it? Why did my dad beat me for, why is this? It was to be right where I'm at today. Those things beat me, but they didn't kill me. And I was able to work around them and figure out ways through it.